morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are calling in from. My name is Eric Bowling, and we would like to welcome our, looks like a growing list of attendees this morning. It's great, to our bi-monthly customer training webinar series. So just as a reminder, if you would like to ask questions, you can do that in the control panel off to the side. We are recording this as well, so if you see something you like or wanted to come back and review it or share it with someone else, it will be on our in our video library on our website as part of our just ongoing initiative to make sure our customers have the latest and greatest information and how to administer their Mitel system. So what we're going to be talking about today is something that is not very exciting, but it is necessary. It's sort of some of the plumbing of communications. When stuff goes bad and goes wrong, sometimes you need to dig deep and look into the logs to try and identify what is actually happening. Sometimes these are poor call quality issues, what happened, maybe it's a carrier related issue, something that's happening on my SIP trunking. And so sometimes you just got to peel back the onion all the way to the bottom to see what's actually happening in the logs. So so during this session, we have David Shaw, one of IPC's senior Mitel engineers, who is going to walk us through. He's going to pull a couple of log files as an example on ways to pull those files, look through those files, and make sense of them. And so I will turn this over now to David. Again, just thanks everybody for attending, and please post your questions in the chat when you are ready. All right. So David, you should have control now.
Okay, thank you. And trying to get the screen together. Are you seeing the my Mitel Connect client, Eric?
Yes, I'm seeing the Connect client.
Okay, good. Alrighty, so first want to start this morning showing you guys one of the biggest things we get a lot of times when customers run into issues is maybe an issue with call quality or drop calls. And we'll want to see exactly what happened during that call for you guys. If the call was maybe destroyed outside of your Mitel system, or maybe if you have some bad call quality, we want to see if it could potentially be an issue with the Mitel system, or maybe an issue within the network environment. And when those kinds of issues occur, you'll often get us, you'll get maybe a message from us that we'll ask you for the call GUID for that call, or the call example. That GUID is the specific ID and unique identifier for that particular call. If your users aren't familiar with pulling that GUID, we may just get the exact call date and time, and we look it up ourselves. But the first place we always start is with that specific call example. And so the way we pull that ID, that GUID, here in the Mitel Connect client, is if you look at your recent calls and you pull up that specific call, you can right click on that call and copy call ID to clipboard. And what that does is that creates a little ID here, and you should see here's the specific ID for that call. And so when we gather this particular ID for that call, we'll take this guy here and we'll go into your server. You guys should see this server screen now. And we'll go into the instance of where your Shoreline data folder lies, and that has all the log files. In our case, this is on our C drive here, in our Shoreline data folder here. And then we go into the logs file folder, and we're going to be looking at the TMS NCC log, all right? And so if you jump down to the TMS NCC, you'll see all your different dates, and these get they get put into a little cabinet file here for storage size purposes. But you'll see you get a TMS NCC log that gets created here. It's a text doc. And so we open this doc up in Notepad++. So I've already opened this guy here. And what we do is we just do a Control F, or find, and we just paste that same ID and right into this this text file, and we do a find all in the current document so that we can see that entire call from start to finish. And so as I do that search, you'll see here at the bottom where we literally have that call from start to finish, right? So this is a call I made yesterday. It was an outbound call. And I won't get into too much detail about how to read this log here, but we can tell that it's an outbound call. We see a call create come from inside of the system with an ID of 2000 first, and that's me initiating a call, calling this 410 number here. So this log file here, this TMS NCC log, is really imperative to us to find out. Like I said, maybe where a call was hung up first, or it's like in this instance, it was. We can see it here was a leg destroy, and we have a separate webinar actually that goes through how to read some of this information. But again, this is where we pull a lot of the information we're looking for. This GMST line gives us our network stats for that particular call when we're troubleshooting. So again, this TMS NCC log that gets created every day, and it continues to write all throughout the day. So if I click back, if we do if another call happens, it constantly updates you, and it asks you if you want to update the log that you're looking at, and you can do that here. So that's pretty much the biggest tool that we use there for pulling call examples and figuring out exactly what happened during a call. Okay, so I do want to take a step back. Most folks have been updated to the new Mitel Connect platform, but I did quickly want to run over how you pull that specific call ID as well on the legacy platform, which is the old 14.2 platform here. And it's pretty much the same steps where you go into your history tab, you pull up your properties, but in this instance, you click on the support info button, and then that pops open that GUID file, and you can copy that and provide that. And you can take that same GUID and again search it in your TMS NCC log on your server. Let's see here. The other log I wanted to go over here with you guys is the IPBX log. And so clear this guy out of here. A lot of times when we are trying to figure out let's just say caller ID, what caller ID showed up as a call came inbound into the Mitel system, or if it went out, if I made a call outbound, what caller ID did that show? And this here tells us exactly what we need to know. So you'll see on this particular call example, this is the caller ID number that we got, and you'll see it says raw incoming CID or caller ID. Was this number here, and the destination or DNIS was our number here, the 804 number. Okay, so that's for an inbound call. Let's see if I can find an outgoing call as well. Here's an outgoing call, right? So if you're getting whenever you call out if you're expecting a particular caller ID number or name, and it doesn't show up as you expected, you can always come in here to check what exactly it showed, and we use this log to pull that up, right? So it'll give us the particular caller ID number that we had, as well as the name of who made that outbound call and the destination of where they were calling to.
Got a question here from one of our attendees. Is there a way to see if there was a call that was listened in on by a supervisor? So if I am doing a work group or an agent or some kind of contact center thing, and I have enabled the listen in mode. Is there a way to see that in the log file?
So for work groups specifically, there is there's the WG file, and this is for work groups. Believe in here, and we don't have it enabled in our system, but I believe in the WG text file, you should be able to see if someone were to listen in on that particular call. Maybe on the contact center side, within those log files, that there's probably, I would imagine there would be another file similar to this work group file, but for contact center, that shows you know, when someone bars into a call, for example. But those are going to be separate logs. But I'm pretty sure you can tell exactly, you know, if that happened on those particular calls or not.
And I believe silent monitor is also available in non-work group, right?
Yes. Well, you have to define it under the user group, and in that case, that may be under the TMS NCC log. I may have to test that to check, but if so, it's likely going to be under the TMS NCC log. But yeah, there should be a file that, I mean, a log that writes that information. Let's see here. So those are the two biggest logs here that we use on the day-to-day training or day-to-day, you know, troubleshooting. There is a way to actually pull all of the so as you look at all the different log files here, you got your voicemail logs as well. You know, if you want to check to see, you know, what mailbox a certain call went into, what happened when that call got into that mailbox. That information shows here as well. See here, those are probably the two the main ones, but there's a way that we actually pull all of these logs for a specific day, and that is using Mitel's slog win tool. So if you do like a start run on your server, and you can just type in the word slog win, there's a tool that pulls up here, and it's the server log utility. And a lot of times, if we have to escalate a service case up to Mitel, they'll ask us to pull these logs here, and you can select that particular day, and you can also select, you know, where you want to save your calls to, and exactly which logs you want to grab. You can grab your Windows logs. You can grab all the actual, still called the short tail here, but the Mitel logs in the database as well. Those are all located in here, and it zips them up into a little file here. So I'll just do the short tail logs, and those logs zip up and actually get placed in this logs file. So it'll have the specific date and time. You can pull it in this log file. But again, the biggest things that we're looking at when we're pulling the log is going to be these TMS and CC logs and the IPDX log, because that's where the bulk of the information is for, you know, call examples, you know, figuring out exactly what happened during that call.
David, if someone wanted to read up or look at documentation, does Mitel provide documentation around reading log files, sort of some of the things that you can look at in the log files? Is how well is this documented, and where would that be?
Yeah, so honestly, we've been asking about that. Mitel really doesn't have like a guide on how to read the log files. You know, what we've gathered over the years, you know, just through experience and kind of, you know, passing it down engineer to engineer, is how we've kind of gone through and looked at these. Mitel does give, there is a guide, one guide on reading the reason codes. Like if a particular issue happened, I'll see if I can see if I can find one for you. But if a particular issue happened and a reason code was created, there is a guide that shows you, okay, these are the reason. This is potential reason of why this happened or not. And also in the if we're talking, well, this kind of off topic, but kind of similar to what we're talking about here. In the event viewer, when you're reading the Windows logs, and you get a specific event ID, in the Mitel maintenance guide, you can search the event ID, and I'll see if I can pull up the list here. You search the event ID, and it actually tells you like what the reason behind a particular ID is, for example, and you know what kind of action you may or may not need to take to resolve that particular issue. And that is located in the maintenance guide at the end. But yeah, the TMS NTC log, IPVS log, two main ones. We do go in the voicemail log if there are issues with voicemails sometimes, but those are the main ones.
Great. All right. Well, you know, this one's a little bit short and sweet. As I mentioned at the beginning, it's kind of a quick hit learning session. Hopefully, you now know where to look, how to find calls specifically in these log files. It's a little bit more of an art than a science as to following through the log files. And if there are no other questions, anyone that has a question, please post it in there. I don't see any others. Very good. Okay, so everybody gets 13 minutes back in their day. It's 10, 11, 17. So wanted to thank David for showing us those things. As always, feel free to reach out. If you have additional questions, you can reach out to our Customer Success Center, finding out where documentation may be listed. David did mention the end of the maintenance guide is where some of the event IDs are defined in the Windows logs to help sort of point to what is actually going on and defining the events happening in your system. Thanks everybody for attending today's session, and hope you have a great rest of your week.